During this time of pandemic, our offering has changed from the sharing of monetary gifts to the sharing of stories, passions, and opportunities. Because we know that the world is in a Kairos moment, a time out of time when humanity will either act and help the earth start healing or not. B. Newell offers a word about our participation in the healing of creation's brokenness.
Good morning, everybody. It's B here again with tips for our earth. Around my house, I am a water warrior, but based on what Pastor Jeff just said, perhaps I should have said a precipitation partner. If I hear water dripping anywhere, I am on it in a flash. In fact, I can be a real nag when it comes to wasting water. I have a short PowerPoint to show you this morning, and I hope you'll both like it and learn from it. This is partly for the young people in our congregation because they like to see images, and when I say young, to me that's anybody under 50, so that's a lot of you. You know, scientists used to believe that the continent of Antarctica was a pretty solid mass of rock, and it held 70% of all the world's fresh water in the form of ice. In fact, it protected it. But now we know that Antarctica is really a big series of islands, and that ice that we thought was protected is now in contact with the warming ocean and is melting. So we are losing our fresh water. I'm going to ask some questions, and I would hope that you young people shout out the answers at home. What is our most precious resource? Thank you. Is it gold? Answer, no. Is it silver? Answer, no. Excuse me. Is it precious gems such as diamonds, rubies, and sapphires? No. And I even know better than to ask this group if it's oil. No, of course not. Our most precious resource is fresh water. Water, beautiful water, makes its own little crown when it drips. Look at that. Clean water is needed for drinking, for keeping our animals alive, and for keeping our crops alive. If people are to survive, in fact, if all animals, except for perhaps some insects, are to survive, then we must conserve every drop of water. How do we conserve it? We have to save every drop. We catch it. Catch all of your shower water while it is warming up. Catch it in a bucket. In fact, I'm going to speak a little bit more about this a little bit later on. And then you're going to use all of that water for plants, both indoor and outdoor. And you can also use it as on your lawn. If you divide your lawn into several different sections, then you can know when to water each one. And I know the buckets get very heavy, but if you just use a half a bucket at a time, one shower at a time, little extra legwork, but it definitely saves our water and helps our plants. Okay, so next, what else can we use to catch it in your sinks? Now, I happen to have a large single sink in my kitchen, so I use a plastic tub. But if you have a double sink, plug one side up and catch all water there. Now, when I say what do I mean by all water? Okay. I'm going to repeat something I said before on my power saving tips. Be sure you have your handles turned cold. Always. Cold, cold, cold. It's the soap that kills the germs and degreases and cleans your hands. It is not the water temperature. So catch that water and use it. You can use it for dipping. Like you see, I caught the other in my kitchen sink. And I want right now to thank Tara Henry because she sent me some pictures also, but I could not put all of them on here. You can use that water. Dip your hands into wet before you soap the next time. You don't need to turn the water back on. And then you soap your hands for the a right amount of time. And remember to do between your fingers. I'm kind of trying to show you here, but I'm down below the screen. And then you can just turn on the water to a little tiny dribble to rinse and catch all that water too, because later in the day you can use it again and again. Now outdoors, catch water in the winter. You'll notice it's quite dirty there, but that's my water that I use outdoors for rinsing very, very dirty things. I have an animal and I rinse her rags and clean all of her rags in that water before I do them in the laundry. And then that water, outdoor water that I've caught either rain, not yet this year, but I then can use that on my outdoor plants and the hedges right outside my garden. So please catch all your water. Don't waste one drop. Now here are a few tips. Use as little as necessary. Don't leave the water running while you are brushing your teeth. And get a cup full of water, dip your toothbrush in it, brush your teeth, then you can rinse your toothbrush under a tiny dribble of fresh water and let it air dry. Or even better yet, put it out in the sun, but that's hard with a toothbrush. Again, with washing your hands, wet your hands in that saved water in your sinks, then dribble a little bit of water to rinse. And here's one, use cold water. I have on my script, take Navy showers, because my father was in the military for quite a long time, the reserve most of it, but he called them Navy showers. So we always would turn on the water, wet ourselves. Oh, I've got that second. Sorry, for number 3 there, back to number 3. Remember, this is not going to be perfect. Take short sequential showers if you live with other people, because the water's already warm. And if you don't live with other people, then you can pull some of the hot water to one of those sinks closest to the shower, and then the water will warm up very quickly in the shower, so you only have to catch about a half a bucket or a quarter of a bucket before it's warm enough to use. And then I said take Navy showers, which means you wet your body, turn off the water to a dribble, especially if you have one of those valves, that's kind of nice, or turn it all the way off, soak yourself, shampoo your hair. Then you turn the water back on, and it has not lost much temperature. It just takes 2 seconds to warm back up. Rinse yourself off and then turn the water off, all the way off. Please do not let it drip. Okay. A shower does save more water than a bath. However, with children, I do realize that kids do like baths and often benefit more from a bath than a shower. If it's appropriate for younger children, have them bathe together. That does save some water. Full loads of clothes and dishes only, please. With our newer dishwashers, and I mean newer, I mean within the last 5 years, you do not have to wash your dishes before you have them in the dishwasher. In fact, really, you put soap onto them, and that hurts your dishwasher. So please don't wash your dishes before you put them in the dishwasher. If you need to rinse off some stuff, use that water you saved in the kitchen sink. Wipe grease off, and then compost your paper towel. Fix all drips immediately. And of course, I'm an older person. I know how to do a lot of this stuff, but I'm no longer able to do it myself. So I will call the Niles Greater Village for help, and probably Iris or Barbara or somebody out there could probably put a Niles Greater Village link up in the chat for me while I finish this. They're great helpers for little fix-it projects. My number 8 thing is don't plant grass. Now, this is debatable. I would like you to use xeriscaping, which is very, very low maintenance, drought-tolerant plants if you can. But if you need a great front lawn looking green because your children play on it, you could use artificial turf. Now, that is a debate again, because what do you do when artificial turf has worn out its life? And there are little rubber pellets on it. So there are some debates about artificial turf. So if you don't want to plant artificial turf, but you still want a green lawn, there are now highly selected for that drought-tolerant lawn seeds. And it's a lot of work, but yeah, you do have to scrape your old lawn out and till a little bit at least, or rake, drag your soil, throw that seed down, and then water it just really the first 2 weeks, and then it's very drought tolerant. The other thing, again, a little debatable, but I happen to know we did this up in Oregon, because in Oregon all the grass gets plenty of water. Trust me on that, but it turns brown during the winter months. We used a vegetable dye to actually spray it once a month. Totally harmless vegetable. In fact, it was drinkable, the vegetable dye. So there are ways of improving the look of your property without having water. And number 9, please do plant trees. With a caveat here, trees that only need extra watering when they are young, like oaks. Figs are great tree that provides us edible fruit that's highly drought tolerant. Desert willows, great shade trees. Mesquites, not as good shade trees. Palo Verdes are interesting trees, and they absolutely, oh, there's a link, thank you, Leonard, for Greater Niles Village right there in the chat. Just click on it, it'll take you to where you can get some help if you need it. And almost all of the evergreens are also very drought tolerant because they have a very deep taproot. Okay, so I hope that you will join me and become a water warrior and use water wisely, saving every drop of our water before the earth becomes a total desert with no mammal, including human life. Thank you.